Hi, my name is Marie Stone, and today I'm going to be sharing with you an all in one guide combining information processing theory, Erickson's psychosocial development, and attachment theory for students who are expressing anger and aggression in a school setting. All right, let's start with some key definitions. Reactive aggression is an impulsive, emotional response to perceived threat or frustration. Often it's triggered by misinterpreting social cues as hostile. It arises when a child sometimes misinterprets something that is genuinely non hostile into something that is hostile. Proactive aggression is very different, though. It's planned and goal directed, it's used deliberately to achieve a desired outcome. Then there's also a different form of aggression. There's relational aggression and there's also physical aggression. Relational aggression targets relationships and social status, and physical aggression usually involves bodily harm or threats. This matters in the school because aggression disrupts learning, lowers academic achievement, and increases absenteeism. It damages peer relationships. It does contribute to teacher burnout, and it can deteriorate school climate, sometimes with long term consequences. So, it's important to have early identification and evidence based interventions to prevent these negative effects for the school, for the student, and for the whole community. So, let's take an example. Imagine Marcus, a 9-year-old boy who lashes out when a classmate grabs his colored pencils. He shouts, knocks the box away, and swings his arm, grazing the peer's shoulder. Afterward, Marcus withdraws, head down, while the class continues their project. The teacher notes that this is not the first time it has happened. Marcus often reacts strongly to these altercations. Think about this, think about Marcus as we proceed through the slides. 3 theoretical lenses. We have social information processing, Erickson's developmental stage, and attachment theory. We want to think about how these can help Marcus and what strategies we can use to best support him. So, social processing theory is how children encode and respond to social situations. Erickson's social theory is about how unresolved developmental crises create vulnerability to aggressive behaviors and emotional dysregulation. And attachment theory is how our early relationships in life influence our emotional regulation and our conflict responses. So keep these 3 theories in mind as we think about that student Marcus. Let's begin with information processing theory. This describes a series of steps. We have encoding, how children attend to and perceive different social cues in their environment. We have the interpretation portion, how they make sense of those social cues, whether or not it's intended as negative behavior or positive behavior. And then we have response generation, creating possible behavior responses to the situation, and we have a response selection, evaluating and choosing the most appropriate response. Aggressive children often show biases at each step, attending to hostile cues, assuming negative intent, and generating fewer pro social responses, and choosing aggressive solutions. So, social information processing deficits and aggression. A lack of an emotion regulation and social information processing are strongly linked to aggressive behaviors in young children. Children often interpret social cues through a different lens that can be flawed or kind of skewed, that leads to a reaction that is aggressive, even though it shouldn't be. So, like when kids think others are being mean, but they're not, or they're much more likely to act aggressively. School based Interventions. So, school based programs effectively utilize social information processing theory to kind of reduce aggressive behaviors in children. By teaching students to accurately interpret social cues and peer interactions, these can help prevent misinterpretations that lead to reactive aggression, according to DeBow and Boxer. These programs help children learn better ways to help solve social problems, and they kind of encourage positive interactions. So, kind of think about this when we were talking about Marcus on the previous slides, right? Try to think of it in his lens, what types of social skills or things like that or program would be best supported for him. Husband said aggressive behaviors develop as children repeatedly process social situations with hostile biases, especially when exposed to aggression in their environment. We have the attachment theory. This is kind of the foundation for emotional regulation. Secure attachment is the foundation for emotional regulation and healthy relationships. Insecure attachment, whether someone's anxious or avoidant or disorganized, can lead to a heightened emotional reactivity, withdrawal, or even some defiant behaviors. It was found that there are strong links between insecure attachment and increased hostility and aggression in children. For Marcus, if we think about him, how he withdrawed after that conflict, it may signal underlying attachment insecurities. So, attachment theory and aggressive behavior. So, again, we have secure attachment, insecure attachment, and disorganized attachment. Children with secure attachments typically show better emotional regulation, and their aggression is lower. That means they trust their caregivers to meet their needs consistently. In secure attachment, Malouf suggested that strong correlations between insecure attachment styles and increased hostility, anger, aggressive behaviors in children. And then we have a disorganized attachment. Children with chaotic early relationships often struggle with emotional regulation and may resort to aggressive behaviors as coping mechanisms when they're stressed. Optimizing interventions for aggression. Building on scientific evidence, effective strategies for reducing aggression in school settings often combine multiple theoretical approaches. Integrated intervention effectiveness kind of targets both attachment relationships and behavior management and are most effective in reducing aggression, according to Frontiers in Child and Adolescence. One was the Incredible Years of Attachment Based Therapy. This is a program that was used and they highly support it, teaches many social situations and how to react and respond in a positive way. The power of attachment-based interventions. So attachment-based intervention offer a powerful approach to reduce aggressive behaviors. They also help to build the parent-child bonds. There's evidence for reducing aggression. Attachment-based parenting programs have strong evidence for reducing aggression and externalizing behaviors in children. Jeffer was indicated as one of the resources in regards to this. We talked about how programs enhance parental sensitivity and taught them responsiveness. So if we think about Marcus, connecting Marcus's family with this attachment-based support could definitely help address some of the root of his behavioral challenges, could help foster more secure attachments and provide a positive social emotional development for him. Erikson's psychosocial stages and school age aggression. Erikson's stages provide a kind of like a developmental roadmap. During the school ages, industry versus inferiority, ages 6 to 11, it's a critical school age stage. Sometimes there's feelings of incompetence or academic failure, which can trigger defensive aggression. If Marcus feels unsuccessful or rejected by his peers, he may act out aggressively as a defense. Earlier, for adolescents in the 3 to 5 year range, excessive guilt can also feel aggression as children try to assert control. So, recognizing when aggression reflects unmet developmental needs helps us respond with empathy and support, not just discipline. And we also have to think about identity versus role confusion when they're 12 to 18 years old. Sometimes adolescents struggle with identity, and they may use aggression to establish their dominance or belonging. So it's very important to understand these developmental crises because it can help us identify when aggression may stem from unmet psychosocial needs rather than being just defiant. Connecting interventions to developmental theory. So, the broad application, behavioral interventions like CBT and parent management training enhance emotional regulation and social skills. They directly support developmental tasks outlined by Erikson's psychosocial stages. For Marcus, targeted CBT strategies could build self control and peer problem solving, skills which are crucial for navigating that industry versus inferiority stage and helps to foster that psychosocial development. The integrated approach ensures interventions address both the behavior concerns but also the underlying unmet developmental needs, according to the source, Paiska. So 73% of aggressive children interpret neutral behaviors as threatening, and about 45% have pro-social solutions in conflict. And without intervention, they are 2.3 times more likely to have repeat incidents. Attachment research shows that children with disorganized attachment are 3 times more likely to display persistent aggression at school. Parenting interventions have reduced externalizing behaviors by about 40%, according to Hussman and DeBow. So, research and evidence, key findings from the studies. There was a Lebanese adolescent study with insecure attachment significantly predicted increased aggression and hostility. Attachment interventions, parenting programs targeting caregiver sensitivity reduced that behavior by about 40%. And secure teacher student relationships buffer effects of home attachment difficulties. Some evidence based interventions. You have to think about what works. Social problem solving training teaches his children to see alternative interpretations of social cues and generates peaceful responses. Attachment informed practices build secure relationships with caregivers and staffs. This ties back to those theories that we've been learning about. Competency building gives children opportunities for mastery, addressing developmental needs, and it also boosts their self esteem. So, for school psychologists and school psychologist interns, it's really important that we have a comprehensive assessment. We plan multimodal interventions, we collaborate, and we consider culture, right? We need to gather students' history, developmental stages, and challenges through interviews. It kind of will help us know what needs they're lacking and how we can best support them. We need to work closely with their teachers and families to implement different strategies and see what's working and see what's not. We do need to consider their culture because always develop interventions that are culturally responsive and consider those family backgrounds and the communication styles and their values. That's what's going to help. And so for your exit ticket today, what would you suggest for Marcus? So think about some of our lovely things that we are learning here. Maybe you have a strategy for information processing that would best help Marcus or different things like that. Erikson's theory, information processing, everything that we have been learning to help with aggression. So think about that. And you may put it on a Post-it note and send it. All right. Thank you. I hope you have a lovely day. Here are the references that you can visit if need be. Thank you. Hope you have a good day.